Are you trying to solo like Slash, but you feel stuck playing the same old boring pentatonic box licks? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. I've taught over 200 guitarists, and I know how easy it is to fall back into muscle memory and overused phrases. Being a massive Slash fan for over 20 years, I've dissected his playing and figured out what makes him stand out from the crowd. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 of Slash's most iconic licks, the ones I wish I'd learnt sooner, that you can start using today to add that unmistakable Slash signature to your solos. And these are just a small taste of the other 40 plus licks in my How to Play Like Slash masterclass, complete with tab and notation, and the link's in the description if you want to learn more after this video. So we're going to start off fairly easy, and the licks are going to get more advanced as we move through. So if you can't nail them first time round, then come back to this video whenever you need to and keep practicing them. So the first lick is a repetitive phrase that you can use when you want to create the illusion of speed, but with ease. And even if you're not a fast player, you can make it sound like you are with this one. And the other great thing about this one is we can create so many variations of the same thing. But let me show you how this one goes first. So it's based on this pattern. But we're adding a flat 5 in there, so this note. So I'm only picking the first note of the phrase the entire time. The rest of it is all hammer-ons and pull-offs. Once we got that down, you can try different variations as well, different fingerings. Or you can play it across different strings. Now the trick to this is being really light with your fingers. Try not to tense up when you want to go faster. It's kind of counterintuitive, but the more gentle you are, the faster your fingers will be able to go because they're not tensing up. In order to be able to do this properly, you'll have to have built some finger strength and work on your hammer-ons and pull-offs as well, so that those notes sing through properly, because if you don't hammer on properly, the notes won't be clear enough. Now, have you ever been improvising a solo and then felt like you're running out of ideas in one position of the fretboard, so you try and move up the fretboard to another position, but it sounds really clunky and disconnected and you can't get to those other positions in a musical way? Well, this one's going to help with that. Slash is a master at connecting different scale shapes to go from one idea to the next. So I've included one of his most used ideas so that you can move easily up and down the fretboard whenever you need to, whilst keeping it musical. And the best part of this one is you can make it as short or as long as you like, depending on how far up the fretboard you need to go. For example, and then you can extend it if you want to and go all the way to the next octave. And this example was taken from the natural minor scale, so Slash would have just used the notes in between each position to get from one to the next. But this works in any key and any mode as well. If you're playing Dorian, just swap the notes out for the Dorian mode. Now, if you don't know your scale shapes that well, then this is gonna be a little bit trickier. You can just learn the licks, as long as you know which position you want to get to and from, that's fine. But the better grasp of all 5 scale shapes you have, the more freedom you'll have when it comes to improvising, and you'll be able to pick these notes out on the fly and make your own phrases as well. Now, if you want to know Slash's most used scales, along with all the diagrams of all 5 positions of those scales, I highly recommend checking out the How to Play Like Slash masterclass. There's a link in the description. It's really going to help with all this stuff. Now, Slash will often use passing tones, especially the flat 5 note, just to add a little bit more grit and edge to his solos. So for example, flat 5 in the key of D. because when you hear those out of place notes, they really stand out and grab your attention. So this next example comes from the second position of a minor scale and includes the flat 5. So let's do it in A. Now, keep in mind with this lick that it's quite a stretch actually. So you might find yourself wanting to put your fingers parallel to the frets, but that's not how Slash would play it. And it's also trickier to build strength when your fingers are like that, rather than at an angle like this. Now this one is one of those licks that has that Slash signature sound all over it. And once I figured out what was going on here, Slash's style suddenly all started to make sense to me. And I was then able to make my playing sound like him whenever I wanted to. So that's why this is the one that I really wish I'd have learned sooner. Slash has a very distinctive sound because rather than sticking to the typical minor pentatonic box scale notes, he also makes use of more of the scale tones from whatever mode he's using. But he's not just using all those scale tones in a linear way. He's using hammer-ons and pull-offs and going back and forth to each note, and that's what makes Slash's phrasing stand out. Now you can use these in any area of the scale shape as well, so you can create some really interesting lines and use them to connect musical phrases. Now this is one that you will have definitely heard Slash play on many of his solos. The thing is though, it's quite difficult to get right and to sound clear. So I'm going to give you some tips and a couple of variations so you've got an easy version and a more advanced version to try out. Now the best place to start is to learn this version first. Then once you can comfortably play that at any speed, try this version. So the difference there is I'm picking the B and the E strings in between. The thing is, you can play licks all day long, but if you don't know how to make them sound musical in the context that you're playing them, you'll end up sounding like a pub guitarist and not Slash. So I highly recommend checking out the How to Play Like Slash masterclass, there's a link in the description, because I show you with examples just how to improvise like Slash and put these ideas into practice the right way. In the meantime, I highly recommend watching this video next because it's going to take what you've just learned and make it 10 times more powerful.